Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So Heather, what are we popping open today?
We are going to pop open cardamom. So when I first smell this, I get a slightly herby impression. I get a little bit of the menthol. It smells maybe like a really mild breathe oil. Mm-hmm. What do you smell?
I mean, really all of that. And I guess because I was sniffing it when you said the menthol, I was like, oh yeah, like the respiratory drops, just smelling it, I feel like I have a breathe drop, a cough drop in my mouth.
Interestingly enough, doTERRA's website does not describe it that way. They write spicy, fruity, warm, and balsamic, and that's not what I get from it.
No, I don't get any of those. That's so interesting. Although I guess I could see that from if you were doing a recipe with it, like a lot of the
flavor
recipes.
Of that. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense flavor wise.
But scent wise, I don't get that. I mean, I guess herby is like the minty menthol stuff, but yeah, interesting. Huh?
Yeah. And just to be clear, this one can be used all three ways: aromatic, topical, as well as internal. Internal, the most common use would probably be using it in cooking recipes. And I'm not sure if we've talked about a cooking oil before, but it is not an equivalent amount. So do not put a tablespoon of this into a recipe. Your best approach is to either start with a toothpick with some on there and stir it in, taste your stuff, or a drop and taste your stuff, but definitely no more than that to start with.
Yeah. I mean, even it's interesting to read recipes on Pinterest and stuff. And there will be recipes where it will be, using the essential oil and add 10 drops of this oil. And it's like, Woo! Oh, that person's not using pure oils. So pure oils are so potent. I'm trying to remember with peppermint. I want to say 1 drop is the equivalent of, is it 28 cups of peppermint tea?
28 cups. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, 1 drop is way more than enough. If a recipe calls for 10 drops of essential oils in something you're cooking, then you know that the recipe creator was not using doTERRA. They were using a very weak, diluted, probably definitely not pure, probably not even a real essential oil.
Yes. And even with doTERRA, I have ruined a recipe with an herb oil before by doing just even a whole drop. It was way too overwhelming, and that sauce did not survive. It needed, it was like, add more tomato sauce just to kind of counterbalance everything until I have enough to feed 50 people.
Right.
So yes, start with the toothpick. You can always add more if you need to, but you can't take away once you have added. So less is more for cooking.
For sure. So besides cooking, what are some other ways we use this oil?
So I was reading in the Essential Emotion book, and this is not something that I would think to use cardamom for, but I thought it was really interesting. Cardamom is the oil of objectivity, according to this book. And one of the things that they really talk about is helping to regain objectivity, mental sobriety, and self-control. Well, what does that mean? It's specifically talking about people that deal with anger or frustration and then have a hard time not internalizing that, and then in return pushing it outward and blaming others. And so it says that if you use cardamom, it's able to help individuals let go of emotional distortions, which can cause them to objectify other people and see them as inconveniences. It helps them stop blaming others and ask them to take personal ownership and responsibility for their feelings. As they do that, they will feel more at peace, calm, and in control of themselves. So interesting.
So good too. Who doesn't want to be more at peace and calm and in control of themselves?
However, I do think that it takes a lot of self-awareness to recognize that you're somebody that would benefit from using the oil in this way.
For sure. And so we were actually talking about this. We both feel like using essential oils has made us more self-aware, but it takes intentionality as well.
Definitely.
But that is one of the beautiful things about using oils is the self-awareness that comes from it. And then having these tools to address our emotions, address our anger, it's it's so powerful once you get into it. So I hope those of you who are listening have started exploring the emotional benefits of essential oils, because it truly can change your life and change your perception of yourself, which then changes the way you relate with other people. And it really is beautiful what the impact it can have.
Agreed. So is there a different way you're using it other than anger control?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that until today. So I will start using it for that, though. But the biggest way that I have used it is actually for digestive support. And so this is an oil that is part of doTERRA's Digest Zen blend. But I personally don't love the smell of Digest Zen because it also has phenol in it. So it smells like black licorice, which I know some people love. I'm not a fan of black licorice. I am a fan of the oil because the oil works really good. But cardamom actually, for me anyways, works just as well and smells way more pleasant. And so I heard a while ago, somebody was talking about how they get motion sick, and especially on things like airplanes. And this is the oil that they take with them because it helps with the motion sickness and the nausea and all of that. But also it is a much more pleasant smell than rubbing on Digestin on their belly, at takeoff and stuff like that on a plane. And I totally agree. So I have started, when I travel, taking this with me, because if I'm out and about in public, I have no issues smelling like this oil because it's a pleasant smell versus some of the more harsh, strong smells that people might not like as much. And then on top of that, the fact that it's just super duper effective. So with things like that, if you were taking a over-the-counter medication for motion sickness, you have to take it probably 30 minutes before the flight, so it can kick in at the right time. Whereas oils, you can literally apply them to the area. So in that sense, I would do it like on my stomach and around the belly button, and you're going to feel the effects really quickly because it's just going to absorb into the skin and go straight to the spot where it needs to go and really help and support you. So it's way more effective, smells good, going to support you, going to help you with any anger if you're sitting next to somebody.
Blaming them.
Right.
So those are good tips, and digestion is definitely something that I think a lot of people probably use this one for. But again, it is also in breathe. So I think if we, need to talk about that respiratory support as well, and similar to what you just said with the scent being a little bit lighter, I think I feel the same way about breathe. Breathe can be a fairly strong, powerful scent, and this is just a little bit more mild than that. So if you needed that respiratory support but didn't want to have something strong smelling like breathe, you could use cardamom as a great replacement for that.
Yeah. And actually in the book I have open in front of me right now, they have it's called the Jolly Good Inhaler, but this could also easily be a diffuser blend to help with respiratory support. But it's 5 drops of cardamom, 5 drops of neroli, which for those who don't know, that is a sweet citrusy oil, and then 5 drops of lemon. And so that would be probably amazing. And then in this one, they say put it in an empty essential oil inhaler, but you could also just put that in a diffuser. And that would probably make your home smell great, but also support respiratory.
That would smell nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could even leave the neroli out since that's a more expensive oil, and just lemon.
And that one's in a roller
cardamom.
bottle. Yeah, that one's in a roller bottle too. So at that point, now we're talking about taking the roller cap off, and that's a little bit of that's an advanced oil usage.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else on this oil?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, we hope you guys have found this informative and helpful, and that you will reach for your cardamom for cooking and respiratory support and anger support and digestive issue support and all the other things.
Recipe creations.
Yes. But be very minimalist with that. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, we want to remind you that on March 24th, we are doing a Zoom class. And so if you'd like to jump on and talk with us and ask us any questions about oils, we'd love to have you there. You can sign up for that by either going to thebottlepoppinpodcast.com, or you can use a link in our social media, so our Instagram page, to sign up for that. Feel free to share that with people who you think might be interested in learning more about essential oils as well. So we're just going to show up and support you guys however you need support during that time. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're popping. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.